Welcome back, everyone. Again, my name is Matt Marquardt. I'm the publisher of NorthIowaToday.com local news, and we are conducting our third candidate interview this morning here at the Mesa City Library. We have with us Max Weaver. He is one of 8 candidates for our at-large city council position. That election will be held September 20th. And Max, a pleasure to have you here this morning.
Thank you, Matt. I appreciate North Iowa Today and you taking the time to do this and specifically offering it up to all the candidates. That's good stuff.
Absolutely, and it's always my pleasure to have the candidates take up the interview option, and we expect more, and we'll also have a good time at our forum that we'll talk about later. But Max, you're gearing up your campaign, it sounds like. I noticed this morning, it was coming through Facebook, we're all watching Facebook, that you've launched a Facebook page. Tell us about your campaign. What have you been doing? How hard are you working? Tell the voters.
Right. Well, Matt, seems like the rumor around town was, as I was asked not to run, and I was approached not to run, and which is not true. No one ever approached me. I did hear a rumor about it. I kind of kept my gunpowder dry in the beginning there, and I got my petition filled out, and I turned it in on the last day to turn it in. You always want to gauge what's going on. I wanted to see what candidates are going to come forward, and if there was somebody there I felt I could support that would be able to handle the pressures of the city council and representing the community in the 30 plus neighborhoods, I could have stood down, but no, I felt at this time and the situation that we're in and that we just came off of with the city council, and I've been quoted as saying it's rudderless. It's really lost its way, and so I felt that at this time I would potentially what I saw would be the best candidate. So after that, I did fire up some things. I did join Facebook. They say you can't teach an old dog new tricks, but they did, and I'm on, and we're moving that forward, and that's kind of fun actually. And I'm a numbers guy too. I'm watching numbers, I don't know what to expect, but I hope people join in with me, at least, the very least, with the dialogue and understand what I'm all about and who I am.
Certainly. And you mentioned earlier that you kind of you cracked your knee a little bit. It's kind of maybe tough for you to knock the doors. Are you going to knock doors, or what's going on?
I don't want to use that as an excuse too much, but my knee, I never have had any knee, nothing. I'm very active. I'm almost at tender age of 65, and people that know me, that are around me, know that I play like I'm 30, and it's, I suppose, I don't know what it is. You know how you feel like you can do anything. Well, that's just not true. And I think all the work that I do, and I do a lot of physical labor still, and I don't know what happened, but yeah, it's kind of puffy, and I got it wrapped up,
Oh, yeah.
If they're a doctor in my future, I don't know. I'm trying to nurse it back myself, but it is making it a little rough moving around. So,
Sure.
But you know what? We meet a lot of people. We talk to a lot of people. A lot of people know how to get a hold of me. I'm very visible in the community. Is at last night's council meeting.
Right.
I'm around. I spend an hour after the council meeting talking to people, and I have that little garden, Rancho Deluxe, down on 502nd Northeast. I get 20 to 30 people down there that are just specifically talking about politics and what happened. And so I'm out meeting a lot of people, and we're going to work hard. We're going to do our thing. And I've walked the community already 4 times in my political history, and I know what that's like. And so I mean, we're gonna do what it takes, and the rest of it's going to be up to the people. How many get out. Everybody's speculating. Last night at the council meeting, Brent Trout, Councilman Hickey, myself, we talked about how many people we're going to get out there. I've talked
to vote, you mean?
Yeah, to vote, and I talked to one of the supervisors. Everybody's speculating. Ken Klein even had a number. Oh. So let's just hope for a good turnout. I think everybody wants a good turnout. That's good democracy. So and the people, for the most part, they show up to vote, and they'll pick the candidate they have the most trust and think they can handle the job and work for them. So it's really. In the big picture of things, it's pretty much all over but the crying. So let's get it on and talk to people. I really appreciate you having I guess, is this our only debate we're having in the community?
Yeah, Max, good question. I don't even feel like I'd call it a debate. I feel like it's a candidate forum where we're going to have the public come in. We're going to have a packed room. We're going to have, appears at least 7, if not all 8 candidates will be there. And I want it to be light and fun,
Right.
and I want to have the public, those that attend in person, that are going to enjoy coffee and cookies and everything, and meet all you fellas in a meet and greet environment, but you're going to sit down and take questions from them. I'll have some questions ready too,
Right.
and we're gonna have a good time, and we're gonna give people a window into all of you so they can make the best choice possible.
So you are gonna take questions from the
Absolutely. I don't
audience.
feel like we shouldn't. I feel like
Right.
we should. I mean, this is for the people,
Well,
so
and-
why not hand the microphone to those that attend and let them
Right.
ask some questions? And
So no filters, I appreciate that.
We want everybody to behave themselves. We
And
want
I-
everybody to, we want the audience to be nice, and we want myself to be
Right.
nice and the candidates to be nice, and we want it to be a memorable kind of historic event.
Mhm.
We're stepping up here, and we're going to do this for the people because they deserve to meet the candidates. They-
Well, the over a dozen debates I've been participating in over my political career, there's always been a filter. I mean, they go through them, they handpick the questions, and
I feel like handing the microphone to the
Yeah.
to the audience.
I
I
think
think
that's
that's a new
outstanding.
wrinkle that I'm kicking around here. If somebody would rather write them down, but we'll cover all those basics later. I know you would agreed to attend. Paul Adams will be there. Josh Masson will be there. All the top candidates will be there. It sounds like, and it's going to be a night to remember. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Well, that's good for the community, and I
Yeah.
appreciate you doing it, and I'll certainly be there.
Thanks, Max. We're working hard for the people of Mason City at NIT, and I know all you candidates are too. It appears that all 8 candidates are good guys, and I don't see how we can really go too wrong with that. So let's get back to our questions for Max Weaver. You're a biker. What do you think of all the bike paths around town? That's something else, huh?
It is. It's pretty impressive.
$2 million in new bike paths, by the way, just so
Is
Mr.
that the
Weaver.
figure? Is that the figure on it? $2
That's what I heard
million?
was a huge amount of money.
I know that some citizens have commented on the fact that there's a kind of a neglect of the curb and panel or the street improvements, or they're just looking at our general streets that we drive on and stuff. And this
Sure.
year they kind of pulled all the everything out and did the paths, and they're doing quite a few paths. And I think any community that has those paths and that biking stuff. And I am a biker, I've ridden forever. My boys ride.
Sure.
My boy works at a bike shop, and I think it's great. It's community's way better off for it. I think it's one of those things that people look at a community they'll identify with and know that we. I guess it's part of the Blue Zones project is where it came from, but
Right.
I appreciate them doing it no matter what project it's under. It's quite impressive. Every time I turn around, I see a new cut in the ground somewhere, head
Sure.
out somewhere. So I think it's pretty neat.
Yeah, good safety for the citizens, I'd say too. So we got to talk about Prestige just a little bit. I know
Sure.
people are getting tired of hearing about it, but it's a fresh thing. It seems to be permeating this campaign. Are you feeling, Max, that we're moving beyond that now, or is it still something that needs to be? Is there healing that needs to take place, or how do we move from where we are now into the future here in Mason City?
Well, certainly you want to move forward. You want to move past that issue and stuff. It just happened to be and I've been involved in just about practically every big issue since the 70s, and Southbridge Mall back in the 70s, its placement where it was going to be was huge. The Curry's vote in its new facility was a pretty big issue, and I'd have to say that the Prestige was well. I can tell you this. I knew something was going on. I was doing my thing and showing up. I mean, what I do, and I couldn't believe all the different people that I ran into and that were starting to get involved. So I knew we really had a big interest in the community on both sides. I met a lot of great people on my side of it, and even on the other side, I had some great conversations that we debated it back and forth. We need to move forward, but there is some scar tissue there. There was a big dark cloud that hung over Mason City, and then some of the statements that were made by individuals didn't help that. So I can see both sides. I can see where people want to move forward and just put it in our past, and I can also see where people are talking about we need to heal and we need to do those things.
Mm-hmm.
As far as healing and programs and bringing on, it's blue zones. I'm not sure what the EDC had mentioned, something about an Orton program Chad
Sure.
Schreck was looking into.
Okay,
and stuff.
right.
It's really difficult to legislate feelings, legislate health. It's really hard to do. I mean, it's an individual thing, and I'm not sure people want that much government in their lives, but
Sure.
people deal with stuff, their health issues, and Blue Zone's certainly a great vehicle to educate people, and whatever program the EDC brings forward through a healing thing. All these things have got to get sort of past the city council, and I'm not sure what this city council is willing to do, but
Right.
it's such an individual thing, your
Mhm.
health and your feelings and your emotions. And I hope people are doing well out there, and whatever information they do get, they take the best part of it. But I'm not sure how you heal a community. I mean,
Does that start at the top down? Is there a
Well,
problem at the top?
if it
and
comes-
and is sprinkling down on the rest of us? or-
Well, if it comes from the top, if your mayor and council promote the blue zones or would promote a vehicle for healing and discussion
Mhm.
and how a community can get together, certainly you'd think you need to lead by example. And I'm just not sure at this point in time, even politically all over our country, that we're interested in more government.
Mhm.
And so I wish the best for Mason City. It's a process, and however
Sure.
people need to deal with it, I support that individually and as a community. So I would certainly be part of any program that came forward, and
Mhm.
that saw that it could show me as an elected official that there'd be a benefit to the community as a whole. But we'll wait and see what happens.
Right.
I just hope people are doing well, and probably my philosophy would be this: out of the prestige and out of our lives that we're living now, and at this point in time, would be let's just try to treat people friendlier. Let's try to be friendlier, kinder to each other. Let's we have the ability to do that. I guess I would prefer to see people just treat ourselves better than what we do, and
Sure.
you know.
I think they call that the golden rule, right?
Yeah, I guess that's the golden rule. My dad always said the golden rule. He taught me early on the golden rule was those with the gold rule. But
Oh, it's another way to put it, right?
there's been some truth to that, But
Right.
but no, I hope people are just kinder to each other. We can start there, I believe.
Certainly. And then, so moving into the future, after Prestige now, the old story that's now the new thing at the forefront, the hotel that we've been hearing about since 2013. It was first announced, and then they said they would break ground in 2014. 2014 came and went, 2015 came and went, no ground was broken. The project's evolved into a 5-point so-called downtown renaissance. We've got a pavilion, an arena, a mixed-use building, a parking ramp. What am I leaving out? A hotel. What do you think of that project, Max? You actually went to the council meeting last night, made some comments to ask the council to slow down in light of some possible financial difficulties with a party involved in that. Where are you at? What do you think of that project, and is this the answer to moving forward in Mason City?
It's a big, all-encompassing issue. It really is. It's another Vision Iowa type thing, and as you know, I was there for Vision Iowa, and I believe my votes and my Plan B is what moved it forward.
Plan B, you called it, right?
Right, moved it forward, and there's some speculation out there that I was against this, against that I'm an againster. That's just not true. I do stand up for the citizens and try to get them the best deal there is. That's our number one responsibility, is the fiduciary responsibility of the tax dollars. Yes, I did come to the council meeting last night for a couple different reasons. The first reason was I addressed the development agreement that they were talking about and how it was worded on the council agenda. And I felt strong enough to present a email that I had received that explained that...
Yeah, tell us about that email that you got from a Mason City citizen.
Right, well, it was from PGI Financials. It was a request from Philip Choder back in May 10th of 2016. the time stamp on it was 12:30 a.m. and he had asked,
Just 4 months ago.
yeah, he was asking if they would be interested, that he had a signed development agreement and with a Courtyard by Marriott development in a town, Mesa City, Iowa. And he was asking them if they would be interested in financing. If he was looking for financing from PGI Financials.
Okay.
And I thought that was amusing enough that I came there last night and knowing what I sort of know. I mean, there's not a lot of transparency here. There really isn't. And one of the questions I had last night didn't get answered still. And I've asked it to other city officials earlier. But that just showed me that Philip Choder still, after almost 3 years, doesn't have financing. So I stood there and I told the council, at best, this is a 50-50 deal. And, but yet last night they're moving forward with conveyance of land and parcels and doing some utility work in the parking lot, which means tearing the parking lot up. And then Mr.
You asked who's paying the bills.
Yeah, who's paying
the bills.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it takes lawyers and contracts and money to write up the agreements and to do the land and to take the land back. I know there's a thing in there that if he can't find the thing at his financing, it reverts back.
Sure.
Well, it's just not that simple. It's just not where you.
Right.
It costs money. It costs money to do those things.
Yeah, it does.
And time, staff time, and I'm kind of concerned about that parking lot, tearing that up. I know the City Hall would like to send a strong message to IDED, the program down there.
Because we are waiting on either 7 or 10 million or however much they're going to, the councils ask for that. And okay.
So any movement they do up here is a signal. They're sending a signal to Des Moines that, hey, we're still moving
Are
forward.
those people in Des Moines, are they pretty smart people?
You know what? They are smart people.
Are they gonna? Okay, I'm just curious.
Well, I'm not sure. It's a limited group of communities that applied. I know some of them dropped out, so they have some money left over. And they've been, all I can really say about that is that they're very patient with Mason City. And, there's some issues there. And last night they actually brought up a thing that I hadn't heard before.
Okay, tell us about that.
Well, they said the word that if this doesn't go down, we have a contingency plan. Well, who's heard about the contingency plan? What would that mean? What scope of activities would that mean?
Because the mayor had talked about transparency earlier in the meeting, and then he talked about a contingency plan, either him or Mr. Trout, who answers to the mayor in Mason City. But we don't know anything about
So
this.
if Phil Choder drops out, what are we looking at? What's the contingency plan? I don't think any citizens outside of City Hall know what that means. And there's your lack of transparency. As you know, I'm a big advocate of transparency, and I don't appreciate government sneaking up on its citizens. I don't appreciate government, not being truthful. I think we had an episode here with one council member not being truthful. It's pretty dangerous stuff, and it makes for bad feelings, negativity in the community.
Did North Iowa find out how much the Mason City Council matters, not just in Mason City, but to the surrounding region?
You mean through the oh, absolutely. You know what we found out
the hard way?
What we found out is that, and it's going to be part of my, if elected, it's going to be part of my program to bring people in from the outside too. We saw how it impacted North Iowa and the people that were involved. Absolutely, what we do in Mason City has that ripple effect around the area, and so I think we need to recognize that, even though the laws and the rules in the state. The way it's written, each municipality and each county, but we do have a responsibility, just as they do too, what the supervisors may put out in the county and stuff, so I mean, yeah, it's very important. But this contingency plan that they spoke of last night, there's just nothing there. I had asked one of the city officials about it, and there was no comment, at this time.
Max, are you worried, or does it sit in the back of your mind that Philip Choder has already sued the city of La Vista, California for a failed downtown, whose ever fault that was? Are you worried that if the city moves on to some type of a contingency plan, Mr. Choder could get litigious?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think if you do, and most people don't do the due diligence that I do, and and most people don't have the comments that I have either on stuff. But I try to back myself up, with facts, factual, and yes, he does have a history of that, going to court, and certainly this game is being set up now. I'm almost thinking.
Is this all a chess match now?
Well, I think it is kind of.
Let's get real with the people in Mason City. Is this just becoming a chess
Well,
match?
let's get real with the people in Mason City. I think that when they mentioned contingency plan last night, to me that says that they're not full throttle on Phil Choder anymore. I think there's potential for a change up, or whatever it may be. I think they have to dot their I's and cross their T's very carefully right now. Maybe that's what the council was last night, moving things forward, because they don't want to send a message that they potentially may be looking at a different developer.
Are you saying, Mr. Weaver, that tearing up the parking lots and all these legal signing of papers, is that just all a song and dance to?
You know what? I have a tendency to believe that. I've been at that table 12 years. I know how things operate. They're sending a message to Des Moines that we're still alive and well and doing this project. But on the other hand, they're very skeptical with Phil Choder, or they wouldn't have mentioned a contingency plan, that they have a plan B out there themselves.
Do you think Des Moines sees the contingency plan and sees the parking lot at the same time, and it's like you're
right?
What kind of message?
Well,
is the city
I'm not in
hall
City
sending
Hall, you know, so but
right.
I'm not sure that the city council would want Des Moines to understand that they have a contingency plan. I mean, that's a whole nother project.
Yeah.
So there's some things going on, and only an astute observer like myself in the political arena for years, I can kind of read between the lines, and I do that well, and I'm concerned about it. And I showed my concern last night. I told them to slow down. I don't think we need to tear up a parking lot. One person after the meeting made the comment, well, if we tear it up for the project, we'll get a new parking lot. Well, you know, all that costs money. All that's not good planning. All that's a redundancy. And I guess I'm, when I sit at the table, I'm more of the...
It almost feels like I'm hearing that there's deception going on here. Not your words, mine, but it feels like I'm getting the sense that there's some deception.
Well, Matt, you know, that would be your job, you know, as
I try to sniff things out.
That's right. That's something you have to do, make your phone calls and stuff. But I want to say this, and I said it last night, I was very clear. I support a new sheet of ice.
You did say that.
It's a good draw. It's it does what it does, and I support that new sheet of ice.
So you support the 5-point project, though, is what you're saying.
You know what?
You can't have the arena without the hotel.
If anybody
right
wants
now.
to really get in there like I have and read the impact study and the benefit analysis and everything, and I've gone through them, it's really, really tough. You really have to have a $500,000 an hour Philadelphia attorney to sit next to you to help you understand what you're reading. And I know most people don't do that, go that far, but as I look at it, some of the numbers are a little different. And I'll give you a couple issues that I have.
Okay.
Again, I want to reiterate, I support a sheet of ice. And I would support that sheet of ice being built downtown. I think it needs to come in downtown and be part of the program.
Okay.
You know, Philip Choder had made the comment that whether we have ice or whether we have the River City Renaissance, he's going to build a hotel. So that's great. If he privately wants to do that, go have at it.
Absolutely.
I don't particularly like the site where it's at, sitting right on our Central Park. I think we have a theme on the east side and the south side of restorations and of storefronts and the facade program. I think there's another location downtown for it, but that's just my personal opinion.
Okay.
But there's other things we could do with the project as I look at it.
If elected, would Mr. Weaver come up with a plan B for the Renaissance project?
Well, you know, mostly my plan would be how do we facilitate a new sheet of ice? And I think if here's some concerns I have, just to back up. I'm a big communicator. I like to discuss the issues. I like them to be out in the forefront. I like them to be covered fairly.
Sure.
You know, the school board. Now, this might be over everybody's heads a little bit, but there's a lot of juggling there. You know, we have different governmental entities in the community, in the county.
Right.
But the school board is considering building from what I understand, an 8, 9, maybe a $10 million gymnasium. A standalone building.
Okay.
Out at the high school.
That's big news.
That's huge.
Haven't heard anything about it.
You know what? That's huge news. And I guess what I would want to say is we need to communicate, because this 60,000 square foot arena in the Penny's building that they want to put in, there's going to be some duplication. I mean, there's only one Hardee's Classic. I mean, I've heard Councilman Hickey speak of the Hardee's Classic, though, you know, we're going to have all kinds of events downtown. Well, there'd be a certain cannibalism taking place in the program. I mean, would the new gym facilitate the Hardee's Classic? Would this do it? I mean, would the activities they're having down here go on out there? Would they talk about the local sports stuff taking place in the new arena? But what's the point of the new $10 million, which is practically, I think the arena downtown is a $13 million project, 12 and a half, 13 million. This could be a $10 million.
This is right in the ballpark.
I'm real concerned about it. And more importantly, if you delve into the real stuff, when you look at a 60,000 square foot facility downtown, and remember now, you already have the land purchased, you already have the building up, the framework of the whole structure, the floor, there'll be some improvements, but you have infrastructure in there. When you divide that 60,000, I hope my math is right, but when you do that, you see the number $210, $215 a square foot.
Right.
That's huge. Same thing with the high school. I did the math on that. We're looking at $220 a square foot. Huge. I think you can build a sheet of ice, a hockey arena. There's all different versions of it, but the one we would like with some aesthetics and stuff could certainly be built from scratch. You know, at around the $120 to $135, even less in some instances. So I mean, that's got me wondering. You know, that's my issue. I have the burning in the belly, the fire in the belly for the local politics. And
you're dissecting the issue.
That's right.
You're known for that.
And the citizens, right, exactly, doing a lot of research. So it gets me in trouble sometimes. I don't want to scare anyone off, you know, on the sheet of ice, for sure. That's the main thing for most people.
You feel like it would be a draw in the downtown?
Yeah, I do. I
Net
think
positive.
If the arena people, that hockey association is willing to come up with $2 million, I think there's a role for the city to play. I think there could be a facility downtown that would enhance the downtown. And, you know, we've already put well over $50 million in the last 15 years downtown.
That's true.
And this would push us up, way up there. And,
right.
You know, you got to balance that with jobs, everything else we need in the community. So I'm just saying I'm not sure they're talking. If the school board and the city hall are talking about the two facilities, do we need the two facilities? You know, our student population is kind of going down, and I'm concerned about all that. How do you get to address that at a council meeting when the council doesn't talk back to you? They don't give you any answers. Brent Trout does a lot of writing on his tablet, but I never really get the information you need. You know, I don't know how anybody else does it, but I'm real concerned about it all. I'd like to know more about the contingency plan. I'd like, you know, everybody right now during the election is asking, do you support the River City Renaissance? Well, everybody wants good things to happen, but with contingency plans and financing plans and
there may be thousands of pages of documents that you haven't had access to or had a chance to read. Maybe that would change your mind, but
you know, Matt, I had a history of being a council person that would share everything with anybody. You know, if I got the documents from City Hall, if anybody wanted them, I made stuff public. I put it out in there. It's the most important thing, is to get the community feedback and what the community thinks. Actually, I put forward a lot of good ideas, great ideas at the council level when I was there. And a lot of them came from the citizenry. They're the ones who put the thought out there and stuff. So I just don't know. Like I said, this council's rudderless. This is a big issue. There's not a whole lot of fanfare about it. You know, it's tough reading the analysis and the benefit studies and knowing what I know. And by the way, I want to say this on that issue. We've got a lot of venues here. The Surf, North Iowa Fairgrounds is doing some things. The NIAC's got the performing arts. The casino does some stuff. We've got a lot of different draws around here.
Sure.
And you know, there's only 4 weekends a month, and limited dollars by the people. So I mean, we got to be, you know, let's be smart about what we're doing. So, but other than that, you know, I'm really excited for the potential of a sheet of ice downtown, a hockey facility downtown. You know, so
we'll see how that all shakes out. We'll see if the state comes up with the money, or we'll see if those folks are going to balk and we got to go to the next year. Well, we have had a great conversation, and we probably went way over the normal amount of time, but we could probably go on for 3 hours, the way there's so many issues to cover, Mr. Weaver. But let's wrap up there. We can always do another interview if you'd like to, but let's wrap up. And why don't you tell the voters, Mr. Weaver, why should they vote for you?
Well, Matt, it's pretty simple. I have the political maturity. I've been around quite a long time. I know the 30-plus neighborhoods, and I know their issues and the things that they need. And I know that being on the city council and sitting at that table is a lot more than economic development and the bigger issues. It's about neighborhoods, and it's about helping people. When that phone call comes in, I answer it, I get out there to them, I show up, and that's been lacking at this in the last few years. I'm very hands-on, very involved. People have a lot of issues that are big to them, whether it's saving a tree in their parking or the barking dog down the street. I know it sounds pretty, it's not very important, but it is. And some of the policies and the rules that they make, and I've always liked to be there, part of that. I want to be that one of 6 people that make the rules that we all live by. I've had the citizens' backs for years, even in the back of the room or the front of the room. And I know what I can deliver, and I think most people know that too. And more importantly, I think people have trust in me. They know that they can trust me. They know that I play fair and that I stand by my word, and I'll be there for them. And that's important too. Certainly I have a lot of other ideas, and I'd be glad to share them with my colleagues and move this city forward, and I want to be part of that. And as I referenced earlier here, my political maturity, I've learned a lot, and that this is a good point in time in my life. I think this is a good time to put someone like me with my history in that at that table again, and help guide, be part of the righting the ship. And there's a lot of good things in Mason City's future. I think we got a bright future, and it's going to be kind of fun. I think out of the Prestige deal, we found out what we want, what we don't want. I think that's really important. As a matter of fact, I really like what Chad Schreck from the Corridor Group, the economic development arm of the area. He stood up and said at a council meeting after the Prestige failed, he said, maybe we just need to look at ourselves, take a look, find out who we are, what we want to be, how do we get there. I think that is the most important thing that was said out of the whole issue. Let's do that, and that's what I would recommend. I'd put that right on the council agenda right away, that we have some sort of town hall meeting, a community meeting, and to find out those things.
That would be quite an event, a town hall meeting where the citizens can give input. What
Absolutely.
Kind of town is this going to be? If we're not going to be a meat packing plant town, what are we going to be then?
Right, and we've got some great options out there, and like I said, I had the good to meet people that I met, a whole new group of people, and I saw a lot of different energy out there, and I think we need to put that energy to use. It's not everything should be done at the council table. There's a lot of stuff in the back of the room and comes from the community, and
Sure.
I'll help facilitate that. And I just hope everybody can get out there and vote. I appreciate your vote. I appreciate your support. And for that, you're going to get a lot of transparency, a lot of, I'll have your back, and I'll be there to help you out and guide you through your issues. And we'll work together to move this community forward. And I'm looking forward to that. So I appreciate your vote. Thank you. Matt, I want to thank you for giving me the time.
Weaver, and Max, for the interview.
You bet. Any questions, I'll be glad to answer them. So I'm looking forward to your debate. Is that Tuesday, the 13th?
Yeah, September 13th.
Yeah.
You guys, you folks, you fellas should arrive at 6 o'clock.
I'll be there earlier than that just to
Public
meet the people.
All right.
So thank you, Matt.
That sounds great.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, you bet.